You can see here that the flies are almost finished, as in mostly all dead. They basically mate and then die. So we've got very little left, but that's okay, that's predicted. And now we've put them all in these containers here. Some of them we weren't sure about, so these are the ones, so they might have laid eggs in the wood or in the attractants, so this is the stuff that you put in there for BSF to go and mate on. You don't want them laying it directly in the attractant, you want them to lay it on these bits of wood. So these are those. This here is sort of the dregs, so over 2 weeks we've got a bunch of eggs in there. And then these ones we sort of measured out each container, we know how many grams of eggs we've got. This is how many things we've got, so let's have a look, see if we can find any of the maggots. So yeah, look, you can see them down there. And then this is another container, they're doing quite well on this one. Oh yeah, there's loads there. And then we'll just cover them up, and then some more in here. So yeah, doing alright. Maggots, so then what we're going to do with this lot of maggots is, there we go, we're going to breed them again. So we're just going to collect the pupa. We won't feed any to the fish this time, because we want I think we made enough mistakes that we've haven't got as many as we'd hoped for, but that's okay, we've got a short breeding life and we've learned an awful lot of things. So yeah, that's what we're targeting. There's a local market which I don't know if you can hear the tannoy in the background, but it has lots of fruit and vegetables, and they collect them, so the market's sort of over there, and then we process it here. We've got Andrew, he's helping us, and he just sort of chops it up a bit finer, so that when we then have the frass, which is the leftover stuff that the BSF digest, we can get some nice compost. That was the first lot down there, but you can see it's still quite wet. If I uncover it, you'll see what I mean. It's just not very sort of good compost. You can see it's a bit mushy. So we want good compost, so what we'll do is chop it, and then it will be a bit finer when it comes to compost. Eventually we'll get a machine to do this for us, but this is just our pilot at the moment. So this is what we're going to do, chop it. Alright, that's the project. And you can see here we've got room for expansion where the matoke is. So this is the fish market. You can see here they've got different products. These are dried tilapia, which are bigger than ours. And then this is another species, which is cut in half. Then there's this fish bites, which are processed fish. And you can see these chaps buying it, more catfish. And let me see if I can find some catfish for you. Yeah, these ones at the end. These are catfish. You can see they've been smoked. See the head.
Yes, you are taking photographs and you are not buying.
You just see Pauson behind me. He's talking to the fish women, what do you call them, fish sellers, sorry. Basically just explain to them what we're doing, and also trying to sort of sensitize them to selling fish, because one of the concerns here is that because of overfishing there's a catch size limit, so there's the size of the fish is limited. So people are a bit worried if we start selling smaller fish. They're saying, well, we'll just get beaten up. But we said that we'll have some documentation so that people can show that, some certificates, things like that. So that will help, I think, with the authorities if they should come calling. But there's no fresh fish here; it's all smoked. And again, it's down to preservation. Why would you put fresh fish out here in the blazing hot sun with no ice, nothing to keep it cold? And we are literally, you can just about see just there, there's a house. Where is it? That way. That's where we are, and we're going to put the ice machine. So in touching distance of where we need to be with our ice. So yeah, I think it will work quite well. So just reached the end of the fish stocks. I think you might like to see these. Look at these chaps on the bikes with their sharpening, and they're just sort of pedalled as a motor. Very clever. But you can see the wider market on the entrance here. So yeah, this is the sort of place we want to sell fish at. It's crunch time today. We're sampling ponds 3 and 4, and We don't know exactly the size they are. Last time we sampled, they were 26 grams. That was the weight, but it was probably about a month ago now. So we need to sample and see how much they've grown. I've talked about this before, I think, but we've created a problem for ourselves by putting this bird nets, because normally with ponds you expect they cater for mortality, so when you stock them you put a lot more in because you know a lot of fish are going to die. But I hadn't appreciated how much gets taken by the birds, so because we've done this, we've now got an abundance of fish in each pond. In fact, I would call it an excess. So we're struggling now with capacity because, of course, as they get bigger, they use more oxygen, and then they get to a point where they're sort of less oxygen that they need, and they start to have problems with death, even with growth rate. So what we need to do is sort of, we've shifted some of the bigger fish from there into those ponds. That's why we did that. So this pond, I'm suspecting, will get to that stage as well. So we need to sort of make sure we don't get to that stage before we have ponds to put them in, if that makes sense. So it's quite a critical point, really, weighing them to see how they're doing. And this is the pond that has a bit of a problem because it's a bit shallower than I would like. Should really be up to the waist, but it's not quite. So anyway, I've got my shorts on, about to get in, give them a hand, and then we'll sample them from here. Just finished sampling the pond, but can you see all these kids in the distance? Now that schools are on, they're all just standing around watching us with their jerry cans. Don't normally get that, and yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's partly why we've got this fence, you see, so it encourages them, like, right, this is where you stay. We don't mind kids on here, but you know, anybody that comes on site has to be supervised. Adults, kids, whatever. Hello, police. You're right. Well, better watch out. This will become a dog channel. You're a bit scared still. See, look how scared he is still. They're not very nice to dogs here. So we've only had him a week or two. So he's now coming up for strokes, which is nice, but it definitely wasn't at the beginning. But he's still timid. Look, he doesn't wag his tail. Look how thin he is. Yeah, we'll fatten him up in no time. And Puri does invite the kids to come and watch for a couple of minutes and tell them to be on their way. So yeah, here we go. Impromptu biology lesson. I think basically these kids are all boarders, so that's quite common practice here. So they stay at the school, and the teachers have obviously asked them to come collect water. Not from here, that would be disastrous, but there's a spring down that way. So here we go, class is in session. So this is how we do it. We feed them like this, then we go and net them, so we catch them in between, and it's much easier to sample, because remember, we don't need to catch that many fish. Like, we've just sampled 80, but 60 would do. Yeah, so this one's much deeper as well, which is good. Back in we go.